Everybody, you're
Oh,
back. You're back. I hope you are ready for this one because it is Monday and we're about to make you cry tears of joy. Because,
open your phones right now and check your bank
yeah,
account.
yeah.
Check your bank account. How many digits are there? Look at your fucking bank account. Say, give me
Not
that money.
enough.
Say, give
Not
me that
enough.
money.
Yes, because if your bank account is not where you want it to be, good thing because you're in the right place because we're going to teach you how to grow that and do it in the right way so that you don't end up killing
No,
yourself early.
we know
You know,
exactly.
no
We
Steve
know from
Jobs is
firsthand
here.
experience. Exactly. No Steve Jobs here. We know from firsthand
Yeah.
experience how to like rough up your bank account so it spits out more money. That's why we make these.
Yes.
So we can
Exactly. And
like
yeah, again, how to do it in the right way, right? Because a lot of people out there will teach you, "Ooh, do this to make money and invest in real estate and all this shit." And it's like, okay, sure, you can do that, but you got to have discernment. And so what we're going to do is help facilitate your discernment so you can do that in the best way. Because just making
so you can
money,
extort your bank account in the best way
yeah,
because
exactly, best
yeah.
for all extortion, right here, right now. Let's dive in. So over this past weekend, right on our Sunday call with the Discord group. Sorry if you hear a dog in the background. That is my guard dog. So she is just guarding her property right now. So over the weekend, we had the call in Discord. And I love these calls. I have to say, like, it is like Sundays alone, man. We are just back to back on calls, but it
Yeah.
is so recharging because you just get the download for the week of like, okay, where's everyone at? Where do we have to go? And then it fills us up. So one big theme that we noticed in the past week is the extensive focus that people have on. I'm trying to understand this basic concept of how do you think about thinking about your business in your life, and as well as how do you think about doing, and how do you actually take the right action. And so that is what we want to talk about today. I'm going to go handle these dogs. Asif, you got to take us from here.
No problem. No problem. So what Mitchell was saying at the beginning was many people will lead you off track. Off track. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the gurus. I'm talking about the people who, I mean, in even some instances, they say they're not a guru. They say no gurus, and they become a guru.
And they actually follow a guru. Funny enough.
Then, yeah, exactly, yeah. Then they end up. You find out later they're following gurus because what they said ain't working. And here's the trickiest thing. Sometimes it works for a while. Sometimes it works for some time, but then later on, as they continue teaching their stuff, they divorce their wife, divorce their partner, or they end up in jail. And people will still listen to them. Isn't that funny? Like, for example, there was a really effective guy that I'm going to take a little shot at for everyone to consider. Okay, Kevin Trudeau is a great example of this. For example, okay, here's, let me just get some clarity. Let me preface this. A lot of what Kevin shares is highly effective, and he's an outrageously effective teacher. He's an outrageously effective communicator, which is what I've learned a lot from him, right? And because of what, for example, what he put together like a networking club and things like that. That's how I met Mitchell. And that's how I met a lot of the key people in my life now. And that's, how me and my brother got on the same page over time. And that's how we found TechnoTutor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So very, very powerful what he created. And there were very, very valuable lessons that he shared. But there are some lessons that really confuse people. And I can't even say, honestly, I can't even say from what we're about to share that it was what he was sharing that was the issue. But there's one particular concept on the Sunday call that we just had for the Young Billionaires Club. And it was great because we got to go in on it much deeper on the TechnoTutor only part of the call. It's this really fascinating. Was it on the South Leaders call that we got to go?
Oh, well, no, both.
Right, exactly. It was both. So it's a really fascinating concept, and it's called the training balance scale. And many people have their take on this. You've heard Simon Sinek talk about start with why, for example. You heard many people talk about change your mindset, change your results, right? And you have you have seminars that occur where they focus all on one side of the training balance scale, which is called the why, the thinking, the mindset, the emotions, all the inner game, if you will. And then so this is one side of the training balance. And the other side of the training balance scale is the how, the strategy, the techniques, the skills, etc. The external game, the what do I need to do? These are the two variables of the training balance scale. Amazing concept, right? And there's many gifts in this concept, but there are many faults in terms of how many people had it explained to them, or at least the bare minimum, based off the explanation, what was created in their mind, what was created in my mind, in all of our minds, about the balance of the training balance scale. So he mentions this concept, and he talks about how many events, they focus on all of the thinking and the why and the emotions, all that stuff, and they get you excited and get you juiced up and going, and you're all motivated, but you don't know what to do, so you're a motivated idiot. You're a motivated idiot, right? And the other side of the training balance scale is it's all technique. It's all how. Here's what you do. Here's what you do. Here's what you do. It's all skill set, strategy, strategizing. And so you know what to do, but then nobody goes and does anything because they didn't go change their thinking. So we're gonna talk about the biggest problems we see, but I just want to check if the dogs are all in check over there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And what we're also going to discuss, we're going to dismantle it's like people's belief system around like thinking that, if I could just think positive, that is somehow like the solution in itself, because there's just so much bullshit out there that people have been taught of, like, okay, if I can just like vibrate in the right way, somehow that like wait, hold on, I just made some more money.
Oh shit, wait, that went into your bank account? Fuck. Damn it.
Right, like that type of thinking, right, where it's like totally mysticism, where you're thinking that, okay, if I just think in a certain way, that somehow that is magically going to connect to the world, and then the world is now going to bring back to me like more of that. It's like, that is
slow down, Buster. Define mysticism.
Okay, mysticism, for anyone who doesn't know, is mysticism is believing that outside force controls your life. So it's used as an excuse to think, oh, well, the government or the universe or God or the billionaires or whatever, they're in control of my life. So I just have to sit back and either pray to them or get mad at them or complain about them or something, or I have to ohm in a certain way, or I have to rub my hands together in a certain way, because then that is magically, somehow, that I can't explain, is going to get me more money, which that is not how reality works.
Right. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, for you listening, you might not say those lines of like, oh, right, I take 100% responsibility. But the moment that either you say this or you think this, or within yourself, this is why we have a principle called self-honesty. Nobody can tell you if this is the case. Okay. Sorry, let me clarify that. People can give you feedback on if they've noticed mysticism in your words, but you can also say all the right things of like, nope, I take 100% responsibility. I know that I am responsible for the success that I get in my life and all of these different points, but in your mind and in the beliefs that you have and the way you think about things, you could be accepting mysticism. So, for example, an example of that is if you think to yourself, just have faith. You ever think to yourself, okay, I just gotta have faith. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes I put my faith in the insert disempowering thing here. Sometimes I just have faith and insert disempowering word here. Sometimes I just put my faith in Jesus. I put my faith in God. I put my faith in the universe. I put my faith in source. I put my faith in the universal consciousness. I put my faith in you name it. Okay. Am I saying that that because right now, right, I say, oh, if you're saying I put my faith in God, it's triggering a bunch of other information inside of you. Look, I'm not here. I don't know. Maybe in the future we talk about the concept. I don't think so, but I'm not here to tell you if God is real and God is not real and all this mumbo jumbo. It's just like, hey, are you taking 100% responsibility? If there is a God, this is what I do. I look at all cases. Okay, if there is no God, therefore you have to take 100% responsibility. If there is a God, there's a reason He created you, so you can take 100% responsibility and become a custodian of this earth and understand how it works. This we gave you a mind so you could think about things. The problem, here's actually the big main problem, is that we think when we can't explain something, it is therefore something, because I can't explain how something works. I don't know, it might be a higher power. I don't really understand why, this was able to happen. So maybe it's the law of attraction. The law of attraction, which is an esoteric thing that the universe puts in place and to make things happen, where I just things just magically appear into my life based off how I've been feeling and how I've been vibrating. You ever hear things like that, Mitch?
Oh yeah, too much. Yeah, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like you're a computer and you got a virus on you, but you're not even aware where the virus is. It's like in the whole system, and you're not sure all the ways it influences you. But like that's what these beliefs and these higher powers can do, is it will corrupt you in ways that you don't even know. And it is so subtle that it will blindside you. But in reality, at the end of the day, it'll just come down to this, right? Because again, yeah, this is not the time and place where we're going to dive deep into that whole can of worms.
Can of worms. Huh.
Can of God worms, right?
Okay.
What we're going to do though is we're going to look at what is the practical application here, so you can actually make more money and that you can actually build a better business, have a better life, and actually create a world that, hey, if God was actually here on planet Earth, what would He be doing? Wouldn't He be taking 100% responsibility to make the place heaven on earth? So let's just do that, okay? So with that being said, right, there's this concept that we need to drill into your brain, that you need to drill into your own brain. We're just going to help provide the drill.
And first, let's just clarify what the kind of originating concept is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the training balance scale, it's the way it was explained to many. Okay, the way it was explained to many is it's 99% the why and 1% the how.
And even said, if not 100%. Is all the why, aka the thinking, aka the vibration, aka the thought process.
That's so tricky, right? Because for every time I heard this, I would always give the person the benefit of the doubt. It's like, no, like they still left room. They tried to explain that this how is still of utmost importance and all that stuff. But then I listen again, and I always hear these seeds planted that play on a specific point within the individual of, oh, wait, you're saying I have to do less work than I thought I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I just have to think
all of a
right.
sudden, all of a sudden I look down and my dick is hard. because that was been my wet dream all my life. I just wanted to fucking buy some fucking lottery tickets, right? But obviously, the average person here, the average person listening to this, they're not thinking, I want to buy some lottery tickets. Like if we actually make this relatable, how does that play into the way somebody leads themselves? Well, it's very tricky. So let me just make sure this is well defined. A lot of people have a belief that it is 99% the why and 1% the how, and it's such a it's so unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, and because I fell into this trap for a while, right? Where I was so focused on how I was feeling, how I was quote unquote vibrating with my vibrator, right? Because you're just a big vibrating dildo, Mitchell. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's exactly how I interpreted that too.
Right, exactly. I was so focused on how I was feeling, how I was vibrating, how I was thinking, all that stuff. And again, we're not saying, we haven't even said it yet, but just in case, we're not saying that it's not important. Okay. But I became overly focused on that. Right. And within myself, I held this idea that what you do is not important. It's like irrelevant. Okay. And here's the tricky thing about that. Okay. We think we have to get the thinking right first and then look at the how. And there's so much nuance to it because that's not wrong. It's not wrong. But the way it was originally explained to for many people who listen to many different gurus, 99% the why and 1% the how. It's not about the numbers. Okay. Somebody asked a really good question of where do these people get these numbers? So and then, for example, Kevin Trudeau, he says 99% the why, 1% the how. There are other people who also give this number.
Yeah, the whole Abraham thing where they're like,
Esther and Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks.
Yeah, apparently Napoleon Hill said this too, which I have not verified that it's actually from Napoleon Hill. Something like, 1,000 hours of activity is equal to 14 seconds of thought. Yeah, and then 28 seconds of thought is equal to 10,000 hours of activity. And at 68 seconds of focused thought, it is more than, all these hours of activity. And it's like,
it's just so tricky because there may be a context that is missing that this could be true. I don't know what that context is.
No. Like, I know exactly what it is. Let's say, right, you're fucking Joe Biden's son and you want to get a business deal done in Ukraine. Right. You need 68 seconds to make one phone call and write an email. Yeah. That's it. So it does work for some people who are pre-programmed for it. But now imagine you're a janitor in the middle of Oklahoma and you're sitting there and you're like, I want to do a business deal. I want to invest in some big energy company. How the hell are you ever going to get through to the guy that's going to put the business deal through? You're not. And so that's why the advice is it's misleading. I'll say it like that.
Right. That's the main point. Okay. It's really to just look at, because the really good question was how do they get these numbers? It's not like a scientific formula in the context of the training balance of the why versus the how. It's not they've measured out, I don't even know what units you would measure out to determine the role that your thinking plays in the results you get versus the role that the actions play in the results you get. I mean, me and Mitch, we have a pretty freaking good formula that we're going to share with you that makes that I know will support a lot of people, because based off the numbers that were communicated, it makes you think about it in a certain way. So my point is, the reason it's used, the quote unquote, the 99%, if not 100% the why, and 1% the how. The reason those numbers are used is to get you thinking about that concept in a certain way. It's not actually, like, for example, if somebody says, oh, like 50-50, right? They didn't measure out, okay, if I could go this, like, hey, Mitch, which place do you want to go to? You want to go to mini golf or do you want to go to the mall? Like, well, how do you feel about each of them? True story, right? Now,
I like mini golf more than the mall.
yes, I agree. But
the
let's
mall
just
is
say
also fun. You can learn a lot from the mall.
Let's just say hypothetically, Mitch was 50-50. It's not because he looked at each reason and he assigned a numeric value to each reason he had to want to go to the mall, and each reason he had to want to go to the to mini golf, and then he put numerical values to each of them, and then he put them side by side. He said, oh, this one is equal to 50% and the other one is equal to 50%, therefore I'm split. No, that's not what he's doing. He's saying 50-50 as in Asif, I want you to understand, doing it to convey a message. I want you to understand that the way I'm seeing it is it's either or. I'm considering them equally. I'm considering them equal, right? So it's just to give you the context on when someone's giving numbers like that. It's to convey the way to think about it. And this was quite erroneous. It was quite faulty to suggest to the average individual that the thinking is the 99.99999%, the value of what you do versus, the value of the results you get versus the how being like 1%, if not 0.00001%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And again, like you'll hear in different parts of different trainings. Again, this isn't just the stuff that we've been referring to here. I mean, this is pretty common, right? You look at The Power of Positive Thinking, that book, or you look at any of the books that deal with prayer and things like that. It's like there's this overemphasis on thinking to the detriment of it's like to the detriment of actually doing the thing in real life. So with that being said, right, now it should be pretty obvious, right? There's the thinking side and then there's the doing side. And
I want to make sure we share one more point before we get to the solution to all this.
Yeah, sure.
But if you had something before, go for it.
No.
Okay.
Let's hear.
I just want to give the context about, I mean, how much we should chat about what the law of attraction really is. A little bit. We should talk about that.
Yes, of course.
Because that's why they're doing it. Why is it in so many books that it's like, if you meditate correctly, if you pray correctly, that's what you should focus on, right? It's like the if you just align your chakras through meditation, then you're gonna, if your money chakra is aligned, then the money's gonna start flowing. I know you don't have a money chakra, I'm just kidding around, but the point
money
here
chakra
is
brought to you by American Express. Open one now.
Open one now. That's so good. The concept within that is because the reason why so many people use this concept is because it sells. It sells. It is resonating inside of other people. And what the law of attraction is when you speak words. When you speak words that are already inside of other people with emotional content, it then attracts them. It attracts them, pulls them in. That's what all these gurus are doing. Tony Robbins, right? Kevin Trudeau, Bob Proctor, et cetera, et cetera. Does that mean just because I'm using the word guru that they have no value? No. I am overemphasizing a particular point right now of people that I commonly listen to. But it's really to give you the context of the law of attraction is really, I mean, it's really just communicating. It's really just communicating. Like, Mitch, can you give more context on that? Because I remember when we were chatting about this a while ago, and you had that cognition of what the law of attraction really is. It started like opening up all these pathways. Like, damn.
Yeah. So it's called like just looking at it in reality. Like, think about this. Why do companies, like, why does an insurance company or a car company or a phone company, why do they put attractive models in their advertisements? Boom, I just gave away the answer right there. Attractive, okay? Because guys want to fuck them. And women unconsciously, it's like we like aesthetically pleasing things. it's attractive. We like it. We like to be around it. There's all these biases, cognitive biases. One being, it's called the liking loving tendency, where you're more likely to be biased and influenced by a person who you deem to be attractive. There's all this second and third order consequence. We infer, it's not actually true, but we infer it when someone is attractive, right? We assume, oh, they had a better upbringing, they're probably nicer, they're more friendly, as opposed to someone, let's say, you would deem to be more ugly. Okay. And I know we're in 2022. We might get shamed for saying ugly shaming nowadays, but hey, good, right? We're not about political correctness, because political correctness is a lot of bullshit. It's just to try and keep people in their place. So with that being said, right, law of attraction is actually the reality of realizing that there are things that are attractive in the world. And so you can use it. Just be aware of it. We're not saying it's not real. It's just everyone's programming and understanding is so faulty.
Right.
That's
about how to actually engage it, about how to actually engage law of attraction. There's a reason why, like, I mean, there's a reason why laptops generally look the same, and why phones generally look the same. Why you don't have any phones that have like little propellers on the back, like, because when you see something, right, you don't have phones that are like, I don't know, like all wacky. You can't even imagine right now out of the box phone, because when you look at something, it gives you it affects your thinking. When you see something, it affects your thinking. You start thinking based off what you saw, the functionality of the phone. If the phone had a propeller on the back of it, as soon as you see that, here's the practicality to it. As soon as you see that, you think, oh, that's not going to fit in my pocket. So it's a functional reason, all this stuff. Yes, but the information that you're using to determine that point is how something looks. So don't judge a book by its cover. It's like, yeah, it's very difficult, just because usually a book is content based. It's informational based. So it's like we're dependent. If looks didn't matter, there would be no book covers, right? So the context of the law of attraction, the word attractive, it's not just based off looks. It's based off, how do you sound? How healthy are you? How effectively do you communicate? How do you walk? What does your face look like?
Yeah, how do you dress?
How do you dress? You dress like a bum? Do you smell? Because if the other things are in place, but you smell really bad, people are always going to be looking at an excuse to get away from you, right? That's the law of repulsion. So the concept here is looking at the reality of the law of attraction. It is you can attract things into your life, and you do put out a vibration in order to attract things into your life, but it's not just based off your meditation and your thinking. It is based off of the vibration that you're putting out is the vibration of your vocal cords as you're speaking, or the quote unquote the thought vibrations that you type into words and you run a Facebook ad, or you put it into a book or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's really looking at the grounded version of it.
Yeah, or like realizing that your physical matter and your constitution of you, it's like of your face, the clothes you're wearing, how you stand, how you portray yourself, all that stuff, like that is also the vibration that is now being picked up in someone else's brain, well, by their visual receptors. So it's like this stuff is vibration, but again, it's not as like lucky as like people try and want it to be. Right? It's like, oh yeah, if I just think this way, this will magically happen. It's like, that's,
right.
It's not quite like that.
Here's a tricky thing. This audio is designed, this audio experience. I won't forget that you said that. I think you forgot that you said that. You did say
audio
that.
Experience.
Ooh.
We need a cool voice to do that.
The YBC.
See, my vibration
audio
is
experience.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to get that vibration up in
here. But this audio experience is for it's on YouTube. Anybody can find it. we can't give you the full explanation as to how this quote unquote concept of vibration works, because you don't know where your thoughts come from. So I can't explain to you how your DNA actually matters. And right now, because nobody knows how to change effectively and actually change where their thoughts come from, because people don't know how to change that and they think they do, we think we figured it out. And, some of us have figured it out. But because we don't know where our thoughts actually come from and where it's physically stored in our body, all everybody is doing is just playing out their programming. So in that sense of it, it's like, yeah, it is kind of lucky, but everybody is shit out of luck. And there's only the top 1%. And conceptually, when we say top 1%, I mean, I think there'll be another time where we talk about what the top 1% actually is, but we're talking about the elite of the elite, right? We're talking about the elite, not just the 1% of the globe. We mean the 1% of the 1%, like the elite who run things. They got lucky and they were born into the body they were born into, and they have the programming that produces the thoughts where they got their thinking right. And their thinking tells them how important the how is, how important the strategy is, how important that they have the right game plan. Okay. So there's so much nuance to this, but we're here to keep it basic and to convey to you the real way to start understanding the real balance between the thinking versus the doing, the thinking versus the doing, or the why versus the how. Anything else you want to add? If not, like, hit them with it.
Well,
draw it out for longer.
I mean, that was so important what you just said right there. Like, how many people really know where their thoughts come from? And then we're over here like, was it?
I was just gonna say, like, how long did it take us to figure it out for real?
Well, I mean, because I studied, dude, I read the books, man. I freaking underlined and highlighted those books. I binged the gin content and the audiobooks and everything for years, like years and years, like a studious person. Did the quizzes, did the advanced reading, the newsletters, the nuggets of gold, all that stuff, man. And I was trying to program that into my mind. I was doing my best, like, just as much as I possibly could. And guess what happened was I still wasn't actually on an automatic, unconsciously competent level playing out the right way of doing things.
He wasn't on autopilot. Like,
it wasn't an autopilot. Yeah. And sure, I was some days I was a little bit more motivated, a little bit more inspired, a little bit more willing to look for the gold, right? And feel grateful and stuff. But in terms of me actually now shifting my programming so that my life is on an actual different trajectory, one where I can handle accumulating massive responsibility, get into real positions of power and responsibility in the world, have a wife and be ready to have children, and then create a better world for my children. That did not change from just studying it with my conscious mind, hoping and praying it was going to sink in. No, but thankfully, right where your thoughts come from is that became exposed to me. And for anyone who wants to know that, right, you got to reach out, and we have some other audios we can send you that go in depth into that. I'm sure we'll add those to our audio experience here. but for now, right, this is the critical factor now that is gonna totally blow up your paradigm, because nobody is talking about this yet. But because I'm programmed for success and Asper's programmed for success, this emerged yesterday, and it is fucking brilliant, I have to say. Okay. So what is the ultimate balance of the training balance scale, as they call it, or the why and the how, or the thinking and the doing? What is the balance of this? Guess what? I think of it like this. It's the exact same way as when a couple.
And just to clarify, based off what Mitch is going to share with you, this is the way to start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, right? It's not like Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, this is a way to start thinking about it, and this is also the way to start doing differently, right? Because it's both. Okay. And this came to me in light of the same realization that I had, a similar realization, I'll say, of when you ever find couples, right, where it's like the man and the woman or whatever, and they're like, yeah, well, I'm trying to do my 50% and she's gonna do her 50%. And together we're gonna be like 100%, right? And it's like that type of thinking is fucked because it's not taking 100% into account. Because I, as the male, can take 100% my responsibility because it's different than the role that my wife can play. And vice versa. She could take 100% over her role as being the wife and really thriving in that. And I can take 100%. So much in the exact same way, guess what? This is the ultimate blend. Is you got to go 100% in terms of the thinking, the vibration, the attitude, the motivation, the why. 100% into that. And at the exact same time, you have to go 100% into the how, the strategy, the action steps, the doing. You need to understand what both of them look like at 100% and then do both of them 100%. Okay. Now, what does that exactly look like? You're going to have to look at it for yourself. And Asif and I can help explain what that looks like for us. But I really want to hammer this home is if you're looking at both of them as like a polarity, kind of like a balance, and you have to like, oh, I'm doing too much of this. I'm doing too much of this. It's like, no, you have to look at what is the absolute of this one and what is the absolute. If you don't know what absolute means, you got to get a dictionary and you have to use technical. And what is the absolute of thinking? What is the absolute of doing? And now how do I integrate those both and harmonize those both? Because you might have times where you're like in the midst of it, right? In the throes of it. And guess what? In the past, you might have thought, well, I'm really in doing mode. I'm really taking activity. I'm doing my actions. But in reality, when you can actually realize this, you realize that it's integrated. It's like the thinking and the doing are equal in one, and you can do both to the fullest of your ability. And as you do that, right, and as you refine yourself and let go of everything preventing you from doing that, and then commit yourself to that, and then program yourself for that on an unconscious, automatic, autopilot level, you become capable of actually affecting real change in your life and in the world. Because in order for us to really step up and get to the highest level, we have to do both to the fullest ability.
Right. We're going to break this down on what this looks like on a global scale, because we're here to change this world system, because this world system is what is affecting everybody. And it's
exactly. And it's a world system of abuse. And if you're okay with the world system as it currently is, you are an abuser. And so here's your option to say, okay, am I willing to change? Am I willing to learn? Because then I should keep going. And if not, well, why? Right? Why would you not want to make it best?
It's like maybe you have to walk through more things for yourself to realize there's more fundamental reasons. Everybody's chasing happiness. There's more fundamental reasons than you think about why you're not happy. It's not just because, oh, I don't have the things that I want. This world is designed to make you unhappy. The purpose of this world is to make you unhappy. And this is the real law of attraction. For those of you who don't get it yet. This whole world is designed to make you unhappy. So all I have to do is market to you in a subconscious way of saying, hey, if you get this, if you buy this Coca-Cola, look how good you're going to feel. If you take this Axe body spray, we look at the Axe body spray commercials, and we're like, man, these are goofy. These are, whew, my gosh, you spray on this Axe and all these ladies are going to start running after you. It doesn't matter if you consciously think it's stupid. Deep down within you, you're like, oh, fuck, when nobody's looking, I'm going to buy this shit and spray it all over myself. See what happens. That's the law of attraction. That right there is the law of attraction. is the world is designed to make you feel like shit all the time. This is why Mitchell's saying this world is based off abuse. This world is designed to make you feel bad, force you based off the circumstances that we set up, not they set up. We set up these circumstances. We've accepted them. We've allowed them to carry out. Every point in your life where you're not taking responsibility because you don't understand that you're supposed to figure out how to do shit properly, and you're just focused on meditation and humming and hawing your way to success, that's why the elite are taking responsibility, because you're like, oh, I'm too stupid to figure it out. Because
Well,
the reality go ahead.
And here's another key point. For anyone who's in these success circles, right, and these groups and positive thinking and stuff like that, it's like, okay, anytime you hear anyone say, hey, whatever your dream is, it's valid. Go after your dreams. Your dreams are great. Yeah, let's help you
Whatever
build your
you
dream.
want, Mitchell. Whatever
whatever
you
you want. Whatever success means to you, go after it. We're here to support you. Okay, where are you drawing the line, buddy? Because what if the dream is to be a serial killer? What if the dream is to abuse children? Is that dream valid? Of course not.
Right.
But where are you drawing the line?
Yeah. What if I was a fucking serial killer and they said, write down your goals. I'm going to kill Mitchell Snyder. I'm going to kill. And I put all the names and make sure that when you get that goal, you cross it off your list. I'm like, all right, well, he's like, because the feeling that you get from putting something up on your dream board, kill Mitchell Snyder, right? The feeling that you get of when you accomplish your goal and you take that off your dream board, whatever that goal is, does not matter what it is. Whatever your dream is, you can have it. You can have it. You deserve it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I deserve to go kill Mitchell Snyder. Here's the point, okay? We don't read into it like that. You guys might think that we are taking and twisting words, but no, we are here to look at things objectively. The word saying that whatever your desire is, you can have it, whatever your desire is. What about if you want to have sex with a woman and she doesn't want to have sex with you? Huh?
Right. And you're like, oh, but that's just respect, right? That's just common sense. It's like, obvious. It's like, no, you got to fucking clarify this, because guess what? What if your goal right now is, I want to just make money off of selling masks for COVID, right? Because I think that masks are doing something. And meanwhile, now you're accepting and allowing, but let's say it's children's masks, right? And now you're the guy behind marketing and selling a bunch of masks for children because you think you're doing the right thing and you have no common sense. Okay. Now those children are literally being abused because, one, they can't breathe. Two, they're now missing out in their critical years of development. They're missing out on the ability to recognize facial expression. Okay. So that's why this is important to clarify, because I know many people who tried to ride that bandwagon. Oh, COVID's coming out. Okay, we got to get PPE or whatever. We got to do our part, right? And save lives. And it's like, do you fucking know what a virus is? Obviously not. Okay. So there's a lot more here that meets the eye. And that's why I asked when I make this to explain this, because we understand context that not everyone understands. And we need to get this out there. Because otherwise people are just running around thinking, oh, my dream is valid. My dream is valid. It's like, no, your dream is fucking abusive. Because if you're participating in the money system right now, like anyone who's trading Forex, okay, you realize, like, do you understand what you're participating in with that? Now, again, I'm not saying, okay, if you have all this Forex, close it out right now. I'm saying we got to apply common sense with it. But if you're just trading Forex, thinking that, oh, my dream's valid, I'm going to do that. Guess what? You're profiting off of a money system that is literally forcing families and children into poverty because currencies are valued at different amounts. And you're literally profiting off that. Imagine you get to the end of your life and you die and you look at your life, right? And you become the judge of your life. And you, as life itself, look at, oh, wow, what did I do? Wow.
So let me slow that down. Let me slow that down. Where he said, you as life yourself. Like, what if you saw the entire world at one time?
Yeah, like you are the ultimate judge now, and you're looking at yourself as your ego of how you went through life. And for 40 years, you profited off the money system and did nothing to fucking change it. Imagine that. Could there be forgiveness for that? You have to answer that for yourself. But that's the level that we're talking about here, okay? Not this bullshit elementary school. Oh, yay, my dreams are valid. Oh, this is so good. It's like, fuck that. We don't have time for that. That's literally perpetuating abuse in the world. Meanwhile, Putin and Zelensky are trying to start World War III and all this shit's happening. And you're over here jacking off trying to think about Forex and why your dream is so valid. How about you join us and change the fucking system? Okay? Because what's
Right.
going to happen? Let's say one day, or let's say you already have kids, or one day you do have kids, right? And you haven't committed to this purpose. One day your kids are going to look at you in the eyes and they're going to say, Dad, what were you doing? What were you doing in 2022? Mom, what were you doing? Why did you leave us this world fucking burning and on fire when you could have done something about it? Why didn't you step up earlier? Now we have a social credit system, right? That's the level that we're talking about. And that's why we say, when we talk about the why, you got to understand that 100%. And then when we talk about the how do you actually change it? You have to understand that at 100% too. But guess what? Here's what's cool about it is when you understand this and you can see the bigger context of how the world is set up, and you can see that, oh, wow, people are fucking brainwashed zombies and they just care about sex and money and they want to feel good all the time. Cool. Now you know how to sell them on actually finding their real purpose. Because if you go out on the street corner and you start saying this, like, hey guys, we got to change the system and the money system's abusive, people are going to look at you like you're fucking insane, even though they're the ones that are insane, right? But there's a process, right? This is part of the how. This is the process. You have to sell them on step by step by step, understanding what is real self-responsibility. What is this world that we're accepting and allowing? And how do we start to change that? And guess what happens? When you do that and you become effective and you plug in with us, we can help you build a real business to do that. And you can build community, you can build a family, you can have an awesome home, awesome vehicles, right? Down the road, when you're making tons of money, you can have a yacht. Because guess what? On your yacht, you can have masterminds. You can inspire people. You can say, hey, come out on my yacht. Because there's nothing inherently wrong with a yacht. Yachts are cool. But if you're on your yacht because you got the money because you were trading Forex and you don't give a shit about the people that are at the effect of that, then fuck your yacht. But if you actually are doing what's best and having a yacht as part of it, then fuck yeah, that's awesome. And so that's what we're really here to explain. And I know a lot of people are not going to grasp this, and you're probably going to get triggered and you're probably going to start hating on our videos. I welcome that. Okay. Troll our videos, leave comments, please. It will boost us in the algorithm. But also, who are you? Right? Why do you think you're so fucking special that you get to go have your own happiness when meanwhile 20,000 children die every fucking day and you don't even blink an eye at it? Because it's you don't see it, it's not in your backyard. Not yet. Because guess what's going to happen if you don't change? If we don't change? If we don't change, that turmoil is coming knocking on your door because it's in cities all around America right now, right? The whole defund the police movement, all this looting, right? All of these issues, society is steadily collapsing. And unless we have a net that we built by the systems and the business and the understanding that we have, unless we built that around it so we can catch everyone, everyone's going to fall on their fucking face and it's going to be horrible.
Right.
And there's
This is the
consequence that
point.
we can't even imagine yet.
Right. There's so many little thinking pieces that are so nuanced with these informational points that we're sharing. But you have to be able to look at when Mitchell says self-responsibility. It's like, are you in la la land? You've checked out? Because that's why you're not happy. When Mitchell says self-awareness, do you understand the full context of what that means? There's all these subtle points. Hey, at the end of the day, for the person who, they react and they are not using their discernment with what we're sharing, they're not seeing the balance to what we're sharing and why we're sharing it to provide the alternative perspective. Because look, we know that there's balance to what we're sharing. We know that. And we're here to bring the counterbalance to what everybody has accepted about the world. Because we know in reality, as Mitchell is sharing, this entire money system is abuse. It doesn't matter where you are in the money system. Everything is keeping the current money system in place. Here's the point, anything that is not specifically designed to long-term be a solution to the money system, to change the current money system. If you're not intent on changing the current money system, that's what we're talking about.
And people might not be clear on what this looks like, because I don't know how much of our content that they've listened to. But what we're talking about is a new system that we can use what's here, right? We don't have to overhaul everything. What we're saying is we got to use the best of capitalism, such as how there's certain types of competition, right? And innovation that happens from that. There's such thing as healthy competition, but the cutthroat survival, that level, right? We don't need that. So it's going to be some form of basic income, yet we're also going to have the education system in place, right? A real education system, not this bullshit that there currently is. So everyone can at least understand and have common sense. And then there's at least enough money so that people don't have to work. Okay. Plus automation, AI, we haven't even talked about that much yet. That's going to disrupt everyone's job anyway over the next 10 years. And so now let's create a reality where now if a child is born, that their parent doesn't have to now go back to work and throw them in a daycare where they're just going to get abused, because a child needs to be with their mother and their father. And so that's the type of system that we're talking about. Okay. And it's going to take fucking time. But what greater purpose could you imagine? Like, imagine how amazing it would be if every person in the world, every person around you, they had basic common sense. So you could have a general, stable conversation with them. They had parents and kids so that they have a family unit that they can go back to. They have enough for their basic needs to be met. And if they want to go above and beyond, if they want a yacht or a Ferrari or whatever, they got to work for it. But it's like they at least have a shelter over their head, and they have food, and they have clean water, and they have basic care. So that way they're not coming knocking on your door saying, hey, I'm out of food. I have no work. I need your food. It's like we have enough on this planet. There's an abundance of food. It's just our distribution system is fucked. So when we talk about a new money system, it's really a distribution system, and it's a couple laws that we're going to have to change. Okay. And so that's why the long-term play is we have to get into politics. But in the shorter term, it's get really fucking effective at selling, making money, understanding reality, and being plugged into this network, because this is the network that's going to change it. This is the group.
Right. So like Mitchell was saying, for those of you who may not know our content and the whole conceptual points of why we're saying what we're saying, well, the point, something to consider is look at your reactions to what we're saying. Because for a long time, when people would mention, this might be rattling your brain. It's like, oh, these guys are talking about billionaires, but they're also talking about taking the best of socialism, right? UBI, but if we give UBI to everybody, then everybody's going to stop working and all this stuff. These are just lines that you were told, that you just accepted. You didn't actually look at that for yourself. And this is we could talk about why, right? The thinking behind a new system, which needs to be intact, and how to do it for probably dozens and dozens and dozens of hours, let alone in an hour or so audio experience. So the point is to stimulate you, to get you questioning, why are these guys talking about a universal basic income, but they're also talking about billionaires? They seem like capitalists. They seem like people who are all for capitalism. We're just here for what is best. And what is best is beyond just this one or that one. Like he was saying, Mitchell was very specific in his words. He said we should take the best of this socialism concept and the best of capitalism and the best of communism and the best of all systems.
Right, because there's other money systems that we haven't even been exposed to.
Right.
But you can look at that and you can study it. Like if you haven't listened to the episode we made called Billionaire Level Thinking, go listen to that one, because that explains how you can hold two seemingly opposing ideas in your mind and you can actually morph them into a higher order concept, a higher level concept. And that is really what we're talking about here, is literally integrating everything, though, taking the best of it and then having that higher order concept emerge. And so far from what we see and from what we've been able to implement, and it's like, because again, Asif and I, we live by what we talk about. the whole go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you'll see further. And I heard that from Kevin Trudeau. So shout out Kevin Trudeau, because that's a great line. And I've actually seen it for myself, and I've verified that it's true. And I've seen it with 100 plus other people, and it's also true. And so right now, what we can see, and as we are be able to see further, is for sure we need to change how education happens in the world. Real education, not fucking school system. And then politics and the money system. And we need to make each of those the very best they can be. And that requires us to do things like this audio experience and the Discord chat and the meetings and the events that we have coming up and all that, right? It all fits in, and it's all integrated into that. And that is the why and the how literally morphed into one.
This is the macro scale. And there are so many prerequisites in order to create this world that we're suggesting. But it's really to give you the context to start considering. If you don't have that as your purpose, consider that that might be a reason why you're not happy. Because this world is designed to make you unhappy, and it's designed to keep you chasing happiness. This is why in the Constitution, it doesn't say you're entitled to happiness. You have a right to happiness. It says you have the right to the pursuit of happiness. Yeah, sure, you're allowed to keep chasing it. No problem. No problem, you can chase it. It's just really look at that concept of understanding the design of this world is to make you unhappy, to keep you searching for happiness. Okay, so that's the macro scale. So if we hone in on the micro, what does it look like to have the understanding, the why, the thinking at 100% about how to change yourself, and have the right process to change yourself? What does it look like externally to have 100% your thinking, your mindset, your attitude is right, but you have to have the right process in order to build a business, for example. In terms of how people think about self-change, how people think about it, what do you see the biggest issues are there?
Well, one is you don't understand where your thoughts come from, and you don't understand how your programming works. But you're so programmed that you can't even hear me saying this. So it's so fucked. But that's okay, because we can take the responsibility and break it down and explain it, and we can have patience with it, that patient urgency, right? So here's the patience, is me acknowledging that it's probably going to take you some time to fully understand this. But here's also the urgency of me doing my best to get this through into your understanding right now, is if you are not currently every day rebuilding your vocabulary, word by word, concept by concept, through using TechnoTutor specifically and the support structure of TechnoTutor, you're not going to be able to have 100% comprehension. And if you don't have 100% comprehension, how could you ever have 100% understanding of the why or the how? So we got to get you to 100% comprehension. Now, the other essential piece here is the writing process, specifically in writing self-forgiveness, okay? Self-forgiveness is an extremely important and critical concept to self-change. Without it, you will not fundamentally change. You must learn how to forgive yourself for what you've accepted and allowed yourself to become, so that you can also then correct yourself. Because within effective self-forgiveness, let me say this very carefully, within doing effective self-forgiveness, you will have insight into your life. You will have insights that you could not see before you forgave yourself. So a measure of how effective is my self-forgiveness is, what are the insights and the quality of understanding that I'm having now? Or then the realization will become obvious. Both realization mentally and, like we talked about in the other episode, about the realization. You make it real. And then you create a command for yourself, which is a commitment statement. So now you know, in a similar situation to this, or if this comes up again, here is my order I give myself. And now you put that commitment through your TechnoTutor. So those symbols are now automatically resonating from within your body. So it is part of your thought process. It is part of every single aspect of who you are. It's also resonating into the universe. And so, again, here's a little beyond little pointer
Be
here.
careful. Be careful. You're treading on careful waters that people will use to screw themselves over. So I know you'll be very specific.
What we're talking about here is beyond law of attraction. What we are talking about here is oneness and equality. And when you can get words and concepts imprinted, right, programmed into the flesh, where all of life is considered and all of life is realized, whatever words, symbols you have within you become part of what's called your manifested projection. So you are now able to resonate with the universe, the world, life, let's say, in equality and oneness. And so that's why you can program certain things in, and then it will happen if you take the action. And without getting that programming in, you cannot get the new outcome that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Because we live in a programmable world. It's a programmable universe, and we can program it, it can program us. Mm-hmm. Now, we're here to correct that programming from the starting point of equality and oneness. By equality, I mean not being inferior to it, not being superior to it. You're either equal or you're less than equal. And so what we're here to help you realize is ultimate equality as life with the universe, as universe, however you want to phrase it, universe life. I like life because it's the most all-encompassing. Universe is still limited. So with that being said, right? Now, to your question of why is self-change so hard is because people don't understand that stuff. But let's keep it simple, right? What can you do? What can you do today? One is you got to understand the basic self-forgiveness prompt. So DIP Lite is amazing for that. DIPLITE, just search it. I'm sure we have links to it or whatever. The Self-Perfected Facebook group as well, where you can find other people who are walking the process of self-change. And then you got to have TechnoTutor, and you got to use your TechnoTutor, because when you can do that reprogramming, even on the basic stuff, what it's doing is it's cleaning up. It's like a defragmentation and a virus remover of the computer of yourself. And as you do that, you're able to start to see reality directly and get more awareness. And when you have that awareness, now you can actually start to direct your change, right? This is beyond anything that the success gurus will tell you, because they don't know this stuff. They're still running their pre-programmed design. For a lot of you, that might be enough where you're like, oh, I got to tune out now. There's no way he could be saying this. And, because I just love Bob Proctor so much. Bob Proctor made me feel better. I'm going to go with Bob Proctor. Well, we should do another episode on feelings and how they can be a trap. But for now, right? For now is the how of self-change and the why of self-change. You got to really understand the importance of programming and self-forgiveness. And then as you're doing that, though, you can start to correct yourself. And then again, it takes fucking time. It takes a lot of time to do this. You got to be consistent. But as you do this, your life will flourish and you will be a blessing unto other people. Like you will be able to then support other people to thrive as life. And this is going to be something that humanity has never yet seen, where more and more people are able to do this. Right? But isn't this what Jesus said 2,000 some years ago? That all the works that he did will be able to do that and even greater. And someone out there will say, that's blasphemy. It's like, it was literally written in the Bible. So if you're using that as your operating system, there you go, right? But then it's so funny, right? Because the programming is so deep of the self-sabotage. People will say, well, yeah, but Jesus meant that about other people. Not me. I just got to believe in him so I can get to heaven. It's like, okay, if that's you, you probably aren't going to like our content. But if you want to actually understand the message of Jesus and really live it, become the living word as Jesus spoke about, that is what we're talking about. Because Jesus also talked about becoming like children again and creating the kingdom of heaven on earth. That is what we're here to do. That's the why and that's the how.
And here's the frequently asked question that might be going off your mind. Here's the answer. No, we're not religious. We're playing on information that might already exist inside of you. And the point to consider here is this audio is not intended to give you the whole pie. This audio is intended to stimulate, to get you questioning again. This is giving you a fish so you can eat for a day. But in order to learn how to fish yourself, for you to see this for yourself, all of these points, that's what Mitchell was talking about. It takes time. We're not here to explain everything here. I would say like every 5 sentences was a concept that I could talk about for an entire day. Like, you know,
Yeah.
when we get in person, how we sleep for 4.5 hours and go, like we could talk about it for 19.5 hours straight, right?
Yes.
Every 5 sentences. And it took us years to understand this stuff, right? So my point is, the best way is to plug in, to come on the Young Billionaires Club calls, because we did an even deeper dive on this concept, which we'll likely revisit. It's to start the process, the real process, the accurate how. Because if you have the wrong how, but you're you got your attitude right of I want to change, but you have the wrong how. Like for example, if you had the how of in order for me to get my muscles right, I am so clear I want to lose the weight, I have to lose the weight, right? I need to lose the weight. It's not just a want, it's not just a desire, it's a need. But you're not doing the right things. You're like, okay, I gotta move around more. So you get in your car and you start driving, and you're like, oh, the more I move, the more calories I burn, right? If you don't have the right how, you're fucked. So that's why we're suggesting take the opportunity, get connected in those groups, and we'll give you the context about why this process or how is the real deal. And you'll see it for yourself as you walk it for yourself.
That's like, that's why we can say this with such confidence and knowingness. That's why we have certainty. It's because it works for every person who applies themselves. Period. So it's not some special thing you have to be born with, or you have to get lucky or whatever. It's like, now many of you, the reason that someone won't do it is because their programming is so deep and so corrupted that they won't even want to take it on for themselves. And we're not looking for those people right now. We're going to create a system so that it can take care of everyone, right? You can't save everyone. You know how people say that, right? But you can create a system that can effectively support everyone. And that's the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
But for now, we just need that new 1%. And that's what we're doing every day. And new people come in every day. It's amazing. And so be one of those people, right? Join us, understand this for yourself, and then go speak out about this in your own way, with your own understanding of it. And plug in, right? Plug in and support, because this is the gateway to the best life, like beyond what you could currently imagine, beyond what you're programmed to imagine. This is actually the most satisfying and awesome thing. So I think that's good for today.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all.
Oh my God.
Leave a comment, leave some likes. I don't think you can thumbs down on YouTube anymore, can you? Too bad.
I wish. If you can figure out how to thumbs down, leave us a thumbs down.
Just put in the comment, thumbs down, double thumbs down.
If you're all about exactly. If you're all about the easy way, then just give us a thumbs up. It'll make your life easier. You're welcome. Share this with somebody that you can
share this with 3 people.
They're focused on a little bit too much. Yeah, the 3 people who are focused a little bit too much on just the inner game and not focused enough on the outer game, but are also teachable.
Yes.
That's a prerequisite to be the new 1%. Cool.
Awesome. All right, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time.